Remember, but Sim hasn't been doing this for very long. He's not very good. That's a silly way to write off that your combat sucks. I'm sorry. Make better games. Pole vault. Oh, wee. What the hell was that? I'm right here. Walk over to the damn bush. I can't walk out of the bush. He'll see me immediately. Slides him in like a pizza. Give him about 25 minutes and you got a nice crispy pie right there. The story is literally just a checklist. You're just checking people off. It's the most Ubisoft game of all time. Assassin's Creed Mirage is a huge hit this year. A lot of people are really loving it. The sales figures are blowing all the expectations out of the water. It's on par with Origins or Valhalla. So the game's a success. Whether longtime fans are pleased with the game or not, in terms of sales numbers, it's doing well. As a nice little offshoot, it is a fun game. And well, what is more important in this day and age as the world kind of just falls apart around all of us is that we got these fun games to play and that we make sure that we're extracting the most fun out of it, or at least have an outlet to go to take your mind off of things going on, because I know there's a lot of tensions that are really high, a lot of high emotions. I'm not going to discuss any particular conflicts or events going on because I'm really not here to discuss that. I'm not official on the topic, but I do want to acknowledge that it is something going on in the world, and how important something like this can be for somebody just to escape. Oh, it was just a random ass dead body. Someone's already doing some work around here, I see. You know what'd be pretty badass is if you weren't the only assassin in a city. I think there's a story reason behind that, if I can remember correctly, but that'd be pretty cool to come across like multiple assassins throughout your playthrough. I want to dip back into this game. I'm 10 hours in, having a lot of fun with it, and like I said, this game is really knocking it out of the park in terms of sales figures, standing up to the most successful entries in the series. So I think their gamble did pay off. I love it when I'm wrong sometimes, you know, because this indicates that, hey, we might get a return to an original Assassin's Creed style game, like a full-fledged one that isn't just an offshoot. That'd be super cool to see. I'd love to see an Assassin's Creed that could stand up in quality to games like Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2 or the Arkham series or The Last of Us, just in terms of its presentation and quality again. I just don't think we've ever really gotten Assassin's Creed at that level, because I feel like most of the time Assassin's Creed doesn't know what it wants to do. A game called Assassin's Creed, for it to not focus on assassins and their creed, it kind of is contradictory to what the whole reason anybody plays this series. And I mean, that's a sentiment that a lot of people have echoed over the last couple games, and I think Origins is the only one that really felt like a true Assassin's Creed in any sense in that trilogy. But then you get this return to roots, which is what this is supposed to be, but it does nothing to return to roots in a good way. It doesn't evolve those roots. Those roots are not always a good thing. The roots in Assassin's Creed 1 are old as fuck. It's an old game. There's a lot of mechanics that don't translate anymore. I do miss the more turn-based, animation-based combat, for example. I don't go to these games for difficulty. I don't care about the difficulty of an Assassin's Creed game. That's not why I'm playing. I don't need every game I play to be a challenge. That's not why I'm playing these things. I like to admire the artistry. I like to play something that the developers feel is representative of their final product. And I think it's important to highlight the artistic aspects of games, especially these days, since creativity is secondary to profits in just about every industry these days, and it's really hurting, I think, just growth in general, but we're also getting kick-ass games this year, so there are still good ideas making it through, but it's at the expense of so many others. And that's what's frustrating. I think what you deem as a good, successful game isn't always necessarily true. Some people might have a total disdain for the Resident Evil 4 remake because they're so attached to that original one. That's fine. You don't have to like it. But just to say that the biggest titles this year are overshadowing this, I don't think is fair, because I think there's a lot of things that this game does to really at least get a foothold. Not to say that the game is pushing boundaries. I think this game has a place in today's climate. I've said it 100 times. If this game had just been a full-fledged return to roots like it should have been, I think people would be much more receptive of it. Still, like, I think this is a totally fine game. I think it's got some fun aspects. I think it's also got a lot of bad aspects. I think the combat's really lacking. Like, it's one button press. There's no strategy to it. The timing window for attacks is a little backwards. For example, the animations between the blockable and non-blockable attacks are pretty much the same, so it's hard to predict. I guess once you get the attack patterns down down, it can be a little easier, but combat feels very lazy to me. I think a lot of people are writing that off as like, well, it's not supposed to be easy. The game's not about combat. And it's like, well, then why are there so many goddamn enemies in this? Why are there so many instances where I fail an assassination mission if I get caught? And I either have to run away, and then I have to delay the whole mission by reducing my notoriety, because if I'm even slightly seen, I get attacked. It's counterintuitive, it feels. I'm not a big fan of the combat. I wasn't a big fan of the combat in Unity, but I was able to tolerate it. I made the most of it, and it still has its fun elements. It's still fun to pull off executions and, fight enemies. I don't think the combat's this horrible abomination that some people are acting like it is, but I don't think it's that great. It's serviceable at best, and that's as far as that'll go. Okay, where the hell is this guy at? All right, some stalls have been ransacked. Okay, we found some targets. I've rescued this perfume merchant. I am the night. I stalk my prey and disappear into the shadows. Like, okay, so for example, yeah, look at that. For example, like the parry. Why does it have to stun me every time? It slows the combat down just ever so slightly, and it drives me insane. I want to parry and then stab. I don't want to parry, stumble back, and then attack while I'm also getting swung at by two other guys, which has happened. So I think it delays the combat just slightly, and it makes it feel clunky. I know maybe because I'm picking out those flaws, it makes it sound like I hate the game, but I genuinely don't. But I think this is a game to be very critical of, because it does a lot of things. It does a lot of things, and that's what Assassin's Creed's always done. There's a lot of things. And Assassin's Creed has never been perfect at almost any of them. I think for me personally, save for like one or two games, I've never really fully enjoyed all the features of an Assassin's Creed game. I always felt like something was lacking. I always felt like something could have just been better. And I think that's the case here, big time. But what games do I think are perfect Assassin's Creed experiences? I mean, this is not an original take, but I think number 2 is. I think that is the identity of Assassin's Creed. I think Assassin's Creed 2 is a perfect experience in terms of what this game series is, but it is certainly also very dated. Its gameplay does not hold up compared to what's available today. And I think one of the Assassin's Creed games that really nailed the animation-based combat was number 3. I love number 3. Number 3 is one of my favorites, but I also don't think they nailed that setting quite the way a lot of people are hoping for. I felt like it should have been a little bit more dynamic, a bit more nuanced. There should have been, I don't know, I just feel like there should have been more to that game's setting. But in terms of nailing the Assassin's Creed experience, I think number 3 comes pretty damn close as well. I think nailing the perfect Assassin experience is Unity. I find that game to be exactly the template that I've always been looking for when it comes to this series, and something that I hope they pursue in the future. I'll keep rallying for that one, because I love AC Unity and I love AC3. But a game I'm not a big fan of is Syndicate. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I think, is significantly worse than people like to give credit for. I think people are just hooked on this like Victorian era London setting, so they get wrapped up in the idea of it and don't really look at what it is, because I think the combat's a little clunkier. They gutted the animation system for parkour. That was kind of a precursor to what we got in Origins, where there was almost no parkour, and that's where Unity excelled. It's the parkour system. I mean, that's the basis of this series, is running up buildings. So why wouldn't you make running up buildings extra fun each and every time? Yeah, Syndicate, great setting. Loved the city. Running around it was phenomenal. I hated the zipline thing. I think it got a little old and was a bit of a crutch to make up for the fact that they didn't want to develop new movement systems. They already had Origins in development. They're like, this is the new way we're going to do this. Let's give players something fun to play around with in the meantime. But we're going with this, and that's what this game feels like. It's like, we're going in a different direction, so let's give them a little bit of this so they can kind of shut up for a little bit. But we'll see. I've been wrong before. Pickpocket this guy while he's sleeping. What an ass. We're doing some investigating. I'm not really sure. Oh, it's a dead horse's head. It's a horse's head. You come to my town. You come to my city, and you do this. Rest in peace, Lagoon. I'll find you, killer. Looks like we gotta go whack someone. This means business. Alright, where is the last clue I'm looking for? Yeah, investigation, for example. Something it always feels half-baked when it comes to Assassin's Creed, like tracking down the clues. So this game, it's nice that they kind of focus on it a lot more. They label it as investigation. All you're doing is walking up to people, clicking triangle, listening to them talk, and then going over to some things, clicking triangle gives you his thoughts. It's just a bunch of button pressing. There's no interaction with it. So that's my biggest gripe. More akin to like the Arkham series and the way they handled the investigation as Batman. That would be super cool if you get these little environments that you get to like slow down and really analyze and kind of solve a mystery in a way. It feels more personal. And so that would have been great for this game, where you're just listening to people bitch about the person and then you go kill them. Something that gives you a much more personal angle or insight to the situation as a whole would be much more compelling, even in this, just to make it seem a little more attached. You can kind of predict where the story's going. I mean, the whole game is just based around ticking off these members of a tree. And so you got the center piece right here, and you got all these little branches that stick out. You're supposed to be doing some investigating. Check mark, talk to this guy. Check mark, talk to this person. And so it's all this like faux interactivity that is really just, it makes you feel like you're progressing. I think it's all just here for show more than anything. But you can also just kind of predict where this thing's going. We're gonna end up at whoever the fuck's in the center here, and yeah, we're just trying to find the head of the order. I personally don't find it that compelling to hunt down these members because previously it never felt that compelling. I feel like the inclusion of the order in this just is a quick way for them to set up a gameplay loop versus actually developing something unique to this game, because it already existed in previous. Whoa, shit, ambush! It already existed in the last couple games, so all I had to do was transplant that system and reskin everybody. Oh, you ain't jumping, my boy. Oh shit. Okay. All right. Fine. Smoke. Oh, there's a quick use button, bitch. Yeah, and so like you can easily just take everyone out in this smoke. I got this sweet ability to do a double assassination. See, I didn't think Far Cry 6 did anything new, but I still enjoyed the hell out of the game for what it was. It still has a fun core gameplay loop. I just think it does absolutely nothing new and probably shouldn't exist. Is a waste of great talent as well. I think Giancarlo Esposito was a great villain, and I feel like they totally should have reformulated the way he was included in that story. The conflict never feels as personal as it should in Assassin's Creed and Far Cry games, and that's what bugs me about these stories, and why I haven't been able to get hooked on a Far Cry or Assassin's Creed story in so long. It's because they feel so bloated and confused, and you know, they want to try so many things, but they don't want to commit to any of it. And that's my biggest issue with Ubisoft as a whole, is they don't want to commit to anything. They don't want to commit to taking a risk. I'm kind of sick of the way Ubisoft does business. Like I'm talking right through these cutscenes. I just don't care. I don't care about this story. I've had 10 hours to get invested in this, and it just does not click with me. I know nothing about Basim. I know nothing about the assassins. I understand that we're trying to hunt down the head of an order. I wish there was more of a personal angle, and the only personal angle they set up early in the game is immediately resolved when you reconnect with that character. And so, like, what the hell was that about? You cover so much ground in this game and do so little. It's crazy. Monastery of the Virgin. I'm here to save all the virgins. Okay. Well, to save myself all the hassle, I'm going to go through the effort of unlocking this viewpoint so I can freaking fast travel. And you know, the other aspect is like, hey, you're choosing the missions. It's not my fault you're 1,000 meters across the map from the one you just chose, but sometimes that's the only option I have, or the last mission set me there. It feels like the game's trying to justify its map by that. It's all, again, the Ubisoft checklist. And I think this is a perfect example of that, because the story is literally just a checklist. You're just checking people off. It's the most Ubisoft game of all time. Okay, this is one thing that's bugging the hell out of me with this game. I will whistle, no reactions. They just stand there. At minimum, they go, whoa, what? I have to whistle like 10 times before they do anything. Look at this. I'm right here. Walk over to the damn bush. I can't walk out of the bush. He'll see me immediately. Still, watch. He's gonna... Oh. I just walked right in front of him. It's a love-hate relationship with this game. I'm just gonna throwing knife. I'm just gonna throw an... Oh my god. Of course I'm not throwing knives, because equipment in this is impossible to get. But there are two right there in the wood. But apparently this dude just doesn't... Well, there we go. Oh no, he turns back around for some reason. He doesn't reset to his stock position. He just is stuck in this. He does that, and then he'll snap to. Okay, let's just kill him. Someone else sees me, so I couldn't get this guy to come. I couldn't trick him. there's nothing I could do. I had to hop out, and everybody just watched me stab their friend. That dude just watched me walk into a bush. It's just totally immersion breaking, and the AI really really drives home the fact that nobody in this game feels like a believable person. What I do like about the eagle vision is that they give you the enemy's line of sight. So you're able to, really determine where they're looking. But obviously that doesn't really matter, because sometimes they'll see you right away, and other times you can do whatever you want in front of them, and they won't even bother reacting. Watch this. Yeah. Now that shit's cool. That's cool stuff right there. Look, and it leaves like powder all over the place. I don't understand Ubisoft's aversion to making Assassin's Creed games that aren't about the assassins and Templars. It's about like everything else. Like, this doesn't even feel like that. This feels like you're just dismantling things in a city. There's no like world building with the two factions that's significant. Oh my gosh, I gotta investigate his mansion. I didn't know that. I also hate the animation they use for assassinating when you're like crouched. You just stab the dude in the ass. It looks silly. Also, the auto aim. Way too aggressive. I've gotten caught because of the auto aim before, because I'm trying to line up a headshot with a knife, but the game keeps wanting me to aim at the dude's torso, and I literally have to just fight with the auto aim system to get the shot that I want. It's really fucking annoying. I get the auto aim is fine when you're in the heat of combat. That may be where it could like turn on, but when I am sneaking around trying to take out these bases, it's incredibly frustrating to try and be sneaky, but also being forced to like sometimes you'll go to throw the knife and it just switches, and then you've alerted everybody about your presence, and then you're screwed, and now you have to deal with that. It's just like the game works against itself sometimes. Again, this is more focused experience, so these things kind of stick out a little easier. They're less forgiving. One new quote unquote feature that they added to this game is this pole vault thing. Where the fuck are they? I have not seen one. I have not used one pole vault in this entire game. I could not tell you where to find any of them. Literally, where are they? I've not seen one. The game hasn't even had me. Oh, is that one right there? It is. Okay, we're gonna use it. Pole vault. Oh, wee. What the hell was that? What is that animation? So they just told me in the loading screen there that Basim is not a very experienced fighter. So don't try to fight too many enemies at once. He's not experienced, okay? It's not because our combat system sucks. He just doesn't know what he's doing yet. For every good animation that these games have, there's like 5 bad ones. And you would expect to have like a tighter experience such as this, that everything would be much more, high quality in terms of presentation. Nope, not the case. Alrighty, where is a single thing I'm looking for? That's what I'm saying, like those pole vaults are so few and far between. I cannot freaking tell you where another one is. Benches are a dime a dozen. Those little shelves that you can yank down, can't freaking find those half the time. And when I'm ever in a chase, I never come across them. Same with the poles. So like the additions to the gameplay and the world just feel so minuscule, and Assassin's Creed's really always done that. They always market these new features as if they're this revolutionary new addition to the series, and it really isn't. The hook blade, what was that? The zip line in Syndicate? Okay, cool. These new mechanics really only exist to make up for the lack of a pre-existing feature that people enjoyed to some extent. They're never really truly out of pure innovation or want to diversify the gameplay. It's usually to make up for the absence of something. That's what bugs me about these gameplay additions, is they're nothing more than that. Remember, the sim hasn't been doing this for very long. He's not very good. That's a silly way to write off that your combat sucks. I'm sorry. That just sucks for you. Make better games. I'm starting to sour on this one the more I play it. Look at that. They're all just charging me with the same animation. Come on. What is this? And then I also have a stamina bar, which is fucking awesome. A stamina bar to do what? To wait to press R1 again. There's no point in a stamina bar in this. You're not doing any sort of management of skills. Why is that there? It just slows the combat down. Everything just feels here to bloat the combat more. And I'm out of potions. Not to mention, getting money in this game is tedious as hell. Like, take a cue from Hitman games and make something similar to that. I also love how the guards just literally are standing in the back there. Don't react at all. Making a ton of noise. I'm killing their friends. I'm going to die in a second here because I'm out of stamina and health. And I have this R3 ability that lets you just like transport to all the enemies and kill them instantly, and I forget it's there, to be honest. I think it's a terrible mechanic, and another red flag as to them trying to work around a terrible combat system, because all it does is just fast travel you to enemies to kill them fast. And but I've always liked the idea that you're just like tapping into these different assassins over different periods of time. Why do we need to do anything other than that? Why does there need to be this like present day, current day, like overarching story that never really came together in any sense in the first place? I personally have never been a fan of it. I think it drags the whole experience down. I much more prefer stuff that is just much more isolated, or you get trilogies like Ezio trilogy, and that would be cool. We could just get different trilogies based around different assassins, and every so often they swap out the assassin for a new one. We get to learn a new character, but now it's every single freaking game is a new assassin, and there's some excuse as to why you're playing them. And it just gets a little convoluted, and I think it drags the whole experience down. So that's one way you can devote resources to a higher quality experience, is by just trimming the fat in terms of the narrative. This is what happens when you put a body in these boxes while crouched. Slides them in like a pizza. Give them about 25 minutes and you got a nice crispy pie right there. Yeah, that's kind of my final verdict on this game. I've pretty much gotten out all the thoughts I have about it. There's nothing else here. I'm gonna finish it up. It's fun. It's a detour. And then I can get back into Baldur's Gate, continue fucking up in that game, and then finally get the balls to continue Armored Core 6, as that game is much more difficult than I anticipated. I knew it was going to be a challenge. It's a FromSoft game, but god damn, that one first like major boss, I can't get past him, and it's driving me up a wall. So if you got any suggestions on how to beat that guy, I can't remember his name, drop them in the comments section down below. But most importantly, I do want to know what your favorite Assassin's Creed game, what was like the definitive Assassin's Creed game for you. I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out my last couple videos. Had a fun time making those as always. And like I said in the beginning of the video, there's a lot of shit going on in the world today. So if this can provide you some sort of entertainment or discussion or just an escape from reality for a couple minutes, then I did my job. So thank you for clicking. Stay tuned for the next video, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.